Let's begin with a question that cuts through all the noise. What is the true price potential of a digital asset that successfully rewires the global financial system? This isn't about a 10% pump or speculative mania. This is about a fundamental repricing based on pure, unadulterated utility. When a technology is chosen to move trillions of dollars a day, its native token cannot be worth pennies or a dollar. You cannot move a freight train on tracks made of straw. The system itself requires the asset to have a high value to provide deep liquidity and ensure that multi-million or billion-dollar transactions can happen instantly without the price of the asset itself crashing. This is the paradigm shift in valuation we are on the verge of witnessing, a move from speculative worth to utility worth. So, what creates an opportunity of this magnitude? The complete obsolescence of the current system. What if you knew that the very circulatory system of our world's economy was built on technology from the 1970s? What if you knew that this ancient network, known as SWIFT, is so archaic that it takes 3 to 5 business days to confirm a transaction, that it operates on banking hours in a world that never sleeps, and that it was about to be completely ripped out and replaced? This isn't a hypothetical. It's the most significant, under-the-radar financial revolution of our lifetime, happening right now in plain sight. For decades, sending money across a border has been a slow, expensive, and opaque process, tangled in a web of intermediary banks. It's a system that costs the global economy trillions in trapped capital and excessive fees, a hidden tax on every international transaction. But this ancient system is dying. Its inefficiencies are no longer sustainable in a digitized, on-demand world. And two digital assets, born from the same technological DNA but with radically different philosophies, are locked in a battle to become its successor. One is XRP. It's the institutional choice, the asset designed from the ground up to be the backbone for the banks, the payment processors, and the very titans of finance. Its strategy is surgical, to work with the existing powers, to convince them to upgrade their rusted-out plumbing with a new, hyper-efficient engine. It aims not to burn down the palace, but to rebuild it from within, making itself indispensable to the kings. The other is Stellar XLM. It's the people's choice, a grassroots movement architected to bank the billions of unbanked and rewire global remittances from the ground up. Its strategy is to bypass the old system entirely, creating a new set of financial rails that are open and accessible to anyone with a smartphone. It seeks to render the palace irrelevant by building a better, more inclusive city for everyone else. This is a battle between a top-down corporate revolution and a bottom-up open-source uprising. We are on the verge of a decision point, a moment where one or both of these assets could be catapulted into that new price reality based on real-world adoption. The window to understand this shift, to see the blueprints while the foundation is still being poured, is closing. This is the story of the choice before us, a choice that will define the next generation of wealth. Imagine a world where a multi-billion-dollar corporate acquisition, the kind that moves markets, can be settled on a Saturday night in 5 seconds. This is the world built on XRP. Ripple's primary target is the core inefficiency of global finance, correspondent banking. This is the clunky, archaic system where banks must hold an estimated $10 trillion in pre-funded accounts, known as Nostro/Vostro accounts, all over the world, just to facilitate payments for their clients. This isn't just inefficient, it's a colossal waste. That $10 trillion is trapped capital, money that sits idle collecting dust when it could be used for lending, for investment, for driving economic growth. It's a massive, unnecessary drag on the entire global economy. Ripple's solution, on-demand liquidity, ODL, which is now the engine behind their Ripple Payments suite, is designed to surgically remove this friction. It uses XRP as a high-speed bridge asset. A bank in the US doesn't need a pre-funded account in Japan anymore. Instead, it can use its dollars to buy XRP on a crypto exchange in its jurisdiction, send the XRP across the globe in 3 to 5 seconds to another exchange in Japan, which then instantly sells that XRP for Japanese yen and pays out the recipient. The entire process is atomic, meaning it either happens completely or not at all, eliminating the settlement risk that plagues the old system. The trillions in trapped capital are liberated, allowing banks to become massively more capital efficient. For banks, this is a holy grail. Reduced costs, minimized risk, and freed up capital, all at once. This isn't just a dream on a white paper. Ripple has spent years building RippleNet, a network of hundreds of financial partners, including giants like Santander, SBI Group, and American Express, that provides the secure messaging layer for payments. But the real catalyst, the event that could cement XRP's role for decades to come, is the global race for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. As governments from China to the United Kingdom create digital versions of their currencies, they will inevitably face a new version of an old problem: interoperability. A digital dollar and a digital euro are two different systems. How do they speak to each other without recreating the same slow, expensive intermediary system we have today? Ripple is aggressively positioning XRP as the neutral, efficient bridge asset for this new world order. They are running active pilots with the governments and central banks of Palau, Montenegro, Colombia, Bhutan, and the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, among others. These aren't just PR partnerships. They are critical trial runs for the plumbing of the future global economy, demonstrating how different CBDCs can interact without friction. Ripple is embedding itself into the very fabric of sovereign money. Now, let's consider the numbers with cold, hard logic. The global foreign exchange market moves over $7 trillion a day. The global trade finance market, which funds the physical movement of goods, is worth tens of trillions annually. If XRP captures even a razor-thin slice of these markets, not as a speculative asset but as a utility for settlement, its value must be immense simply to handle the transaction volume without price volatility, an effect known as slippage. For a bank to move $500 million without the price of the asset itself crashing, the total market value of that asset must be orders of magnitude larger than it is today. This isn't about hype. It's about math. This is scenario A. A future where XRP is the invisible, high-value backbone of global finance, and those who understood its utility are rewarded for betting on the house. Now, let us imagine a different future. One that doesn't start in a boardroom, but on a street corner in a country thousands of miles away. A future not measured in trillions of institutional flow, but in billions of individual lives empowered. This is the world being built on Stellar XLM. The problem Stellar addresses is personal, immediate, and enormous. Over 1.4 billion people are unbanked, completely locked out of the digital economy. Millions more, who work abroad to support their families, pay predatory fees averaging over 6% just to send money home. That's a $40 billion annual tax on the world's most vulnerable populations, extracted by a slow and inefficient system. Stellar's open, permissionless network acts as a universal translator for value, allowing anyone to send money cheaply and instantly, turning a 3-day, high-fee process into a 3-second, sub-penny transaction. The network's anchors are the crucial foundation of this ecosystem. They are the regulated financial entities, fintech companies, money service businesses, or even banks that act as the on-ramps and off-ramps between the traditional world and the Stellar network. They connect local currencies like the Nigerian naira or the Mexican peso to the blockchain by issuing tokenized, one-to-one backed versions of that fiat money. The native asset, XLM, is the incredibly efficient, low-cost bridge that connects all these different currency tokens. A user can send a tokenized dollar, and the network can find the best path to have it arrive as a tokenized peso in seconds, using XLM as the intermediary asset if that's the most liquid route. XLM is the network's universal solvent. This is happening now at scale. Stellar's landmark partnership with MoneyGram is a masterclass in bridging the old world with the new. It turned hundreds of thousands of their physical locations in over 180 countries into on-ramps and off-ramps for its network. This seamlessly connects the cash world to the digital world, allowing someone to walk into a store with cash and have it arrive in a relative's digital wallet across the world moments later. Furthermore, Stellar's native integration of USDC, one of the world's most trusted and regulated stablecoins, provides a reliable, fully backed digital dollar that can move with stellar speed and near-zero cost, making it an ideal building block for developers creating financial applications. Stellar's strategy is grassroots adoption. While Ripple hosts conferences for bankers, the Stellar Development Foundation funds hackathons for developers and uses its enterprise fund to invest directly in promising startups building on its network. like the African fintech company Cowry and the Latin American payment provider N-Tokens. They empower entrepreneurs to build real-world payment apps, wallets, and financial services that solve problems their communities actually face. While XRP targets a few thousand institutional clients, XLM targets 1 billion individual users. This is a network effect built from the ground up, one wallet at a time. The value proposition here is staggering. The global remittance market is approaching $1 trillion annually. If Stellar captures a significant slice of this by being 10 times better and 100 times cheaper, the demand for XLM as a bridge asset and a transaction facilitator will explode. This is scenario B, a bottom-up revolution where XLM becomes the people's protocol for money, a world of empowerment where those who bet on the people win. For years, the easy answer from observers was, they can coexist. One serves the banks, the other serves the people. A neat, tidy narrative. But as the game enters its final stages, that narrative is becoming dangerously naive. We have to ask the hard question. Is this a winner-take-all scenario? The lines are blurring, and direct, brutal competition seems inevitable. Let's game this out. Consider the XRP offensive. If banks like JP Morgan and Bank of America fully adopt XRP for their back-end infrastructure, for settling multi-billion-dollar transactions between themselves, what stops them from weaponizing that same powerful technology against the retail market? Imagine a Chase Global Pay or Amex Send app built on XRP, with the marketing budget of a behemoth and the trust of a century-old brand, could be offered for free or even with cashback rewards to their millions of existing customers. They could create a powerful, polished, walled garden that directly competes with the entire ecosystem of startups being built on Stellar. In this scenario, the success of the top-down approach doesn't just coexist. It actively suffocates the bottom-up movement before it can reach critical mass. Now, consider the Stellar counteroffensive. What happens if Stellar's open network achieves a Facebook moment for payments before the banks can mobilize? If it becomes so ubiquitous for peer-to-peer and remittance payments that billions of people are using it daily through a constellation of independent wallets and apps, it becomes a force of gravity. It achieves Metcalfe's law, where the value of the network is proportional to the square of the number of its users. At that point, institutions cannot ignore it. Banks, notoriously slow to innovate and adapt, might be forced to integrate with the network their customers are already using, just to stay relevant. In this scenario, the people's choice forces the hand of the institutions, making Ripple's long, top-down sales cycle irrelevant. The open standard wins. And looming over this entire conflict is the ultimate wildcard, the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. In December 2020, the SEC alleged XRP is an unregistered security, casting a long shadow of regulatory uncertainty. Ripple has fought a brutal, expensive legal war. They scored a landmark partial victory in 2023 when Judge Annalisa Torres ruled that programmatic sales of XRP on exchanges to retail customers were not securities. This was a huge win for its status among everyday users. However, the judge also ruled that direct institutional sales of XRP, the very sales that form the core of Ripple's business model, did constitute securities sales. The fight continues over remedies and penalties, leaving its final status in the U.S. unresolved. This creates a powerful tension. The asset may be clear for the public to trade, but the company's primary business model remains under a legal cloud in the world's largest market. A decisive, final win for Ripple, clearing all uncertainty around its institutional business, would be a green light for every cautious U.S. institution to flood in, a potential catalyst of epic proportions. But Stellar, with its non-profit structure and different origins, has completely avoided this regulatory nightmare. That clarity is a massive, undeniable competitive advantage that allows it to build partnerships without fear. This makes the choice starker. Do you bet on the high-risk, high-reward asset fighting a defining legal war for its very soul, or the steady builder that already has the regulatory green light? We have seen the two paths. Path A, the institutional future, rebuilt by XRP. Path B, the people's future, connected by XLM. For a decade, this was theory, a debate waged on internet forums and white papers. Now, it is becoming reality. The signals are no longer subtle. They are headlines. They are quarterly reports from the Bank for International Settlements analyzing the very tokenization technology these assets pioneered. They are successful CBDC pilots concluding and publishing their findings, moving from experiment to policy. New remittance corridors on Stellar are announced every quarter, with real, measurable volume that can be tracked on-chain. The abstract concepts are becoming concrete financial infrastructure. The concrete is setting. This is what we mean by the closing window. Think of it not as a door slowly creaking shut, but as a rocket launch sequence. We are past the initial system checks. We are in the final countdown. The smart money, the institutional funds, the quiet family offices, they don't wait for the rocket to be in the sky. They accumulate during the countdown when the outcome is probable, but not yet public. This is that moment. The historic moment where an individual retail investor has access to the same information and can see the architectural blueprint for the next financial system, able to buy a piece of the foundation, is a fleeting, once-in-a-generation opportunity. It is akin to buying internet domain names in 1995 or railroad land in the 1880s. Once the institutions fully commit, once a global standard is set, either by the banks or by the people, the game changes completely. The phase of exponential, ground-floor growth will be over. The narrative will shift from, will it be adopted? To, by how much did its transaction volume grow this quarter? The asset will cease to be a speculative cryptocurrency in the way we think of it and will become more like a core piece of global infrastructure. Its price fluctuating based on macroeconomic trends like global trade volume, not on retail sentiment. The opportunity for life-altering gains will be in the rearview mirror. The financial system is being rebuilt. This is not a drill. It is not hype. It is happening now with or without your participation. You have been presented with the evidence. You have seen the stakes. The countdown is approaching zero. You have one last chance to decide if you want a stake in the architecture before the doors close. Before the world makes the decision for you. What will you choose? To stay ahead of this monumental shift and make informed decisions, make sure you subscribe to